When you go out looking for a new video game today, most of the time you'll be looking at a $60 price tag for a AAA game. And what I mean by AAA game is that it's a very expensive game that has had years of development behind itself. But that doesn't necessarily mean the game is good. On the other hand, most indie games, which are typically better, usually run you between $10 and $40 respectively. But regardless, when you look at these prices, especially in the AAA gaming market, it seems like a very expensive hobby to get into. And while that may be true for some people, I don't think the prices are necessarily unfair. Well, most of them aren't anyways. But to fully understand why, let's go back in time for a bit. The Atari 2600, released in 1977, ran for a price of $200 at the time. Now, while that seems like a reasonable cost by today's standards, if you adjust that price for inflation, it comes out to $995 by today's money. Literally $1,000 for a game console in 1977, which is like ridiculous. And the Atari games, which were reasonably priced at $30 by today's standards, have become $150 in today's money. So, yet again, outrageous for the price of a game back in 1977. So needless to say, video games have been a very expensive hobby since their inception in home entertainment. And even if you didn't have a gaming console in your living room at the time, I'm sure arcades drained people's money. But the point I'm trying to make with all this is that games today don't cost $150 like they did back in the 70s, adjusted for inflation, of course. AAA games today run for $60 usually, but in the last 2 years they've kind of been bumped up to $70, and the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are priced at $500 respectively instead of $1,000 like the Atari was, so I feel like it's pretty fair by today's standards. And besides, indie games are always a cheaper alternative to AAA games if you don't want to hash out the money for it. So once you accept the price that most video games are listed at, then you need to ask yourself, what is really worth $60 or $70 in these video games? All AAA games are full price at release, but they're not all equal in value. Let's take a look at Elden Ring, for example, a fantastic game that I'm currently running through. It can literally take you anywhere from 100 to 200 hours to beat this game, and I haven't even come close to that yet. There's just so much to do in the game. And currently, Elden Ring is listed as $60 on any storefront. It honestly seems like a great value to me personally. Now let's look at a game that is most definitely not worth full AAA price. And that, of course, is Redfall. Redfall released earlier this year at a full $70 AAA price tag, and let me just tell you, it is not worth it. The game wasn't even close to representing what a AAA game should be, and it's so sad. Now, while I don't absolutely hate Redfall like most other people did, I actually kind of enjoyed it a little bit. It clearly should have been a $20 game instead of a $70 game. Halo Infinite's campaign is only 8 to 10 hours, but it costs a full $60. Now, while this might not be enough of a game for certain people, I think it was worth the $60 because I'm a huge Halo fan, and so I just really wanted this game. Sure, the price could have been cheaper. I think the campaign would probably reasonably be priced at like $40, but yet again, this is coming from a biased point of view coming from me, so I think the $60 was okay, but I can definitely see why people have problems with it. Even The Last of Us, listed at $70 for the remake, is a 10 to 12 hour game. While the runtime is fairly short, many, myself included, think the game is absolutely unbelievably good and totally worth a full price, even though it's only 10 to 12 hours long. And of course, you can get the original copy of The Last of Us for far cheaper if you really wanted to. Video games overall are not expensive, you just need to pick and choose which video games you want to play instead of trying to buy all of them. Video games go on sale. Naturally, as a product gets older, the value decreases and you can get it at a reduced price. Unless it's vintage, then the price skyrockets into oblivion. But seriously, Red Dead Redemption 2, a technical masterpiece, can be found on sale for $20 almost all the time on any store. Ever wanted to play God of War 2018? Congratulations, you can find it for $20 or cheaper at like GameStop. Halo the Master Chief Collection, a collection that features 6 Halo games, 2 of them being remasters, sells for $40 on every storefront. And when you find it on sale, which it often is on sale, it goes all the way down to $10 for 6 games, 2 of which being remasters. Buying older games or waiting for newer games to go on sale is really a smart way to shop in the gaming market, especially with how oversaturated it is. But these few examples I just listed lead me to my next point, and that is that Nintendo games never go on sale. That's right, you want to play Breath of the Wild from 2017? It's still $60. Mario Kart 8 from 2017? still $60. Metroid Dread, Mario Maker, Donkey Kong, any Pokemon game, etc. are all still full price. Now don't get me wrong, most of Nintendo's games are incredible and definitely worth the price. I put 300 hours plus in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom combined. Like, those games are incredible to me. And so while games like that may be justified to keep the same price after 6 years, should Pokemon Sword and Shield still be listed at $60 today? In my opinion, those games should have never been $60 in the first place. So this kind of leads me back to the point I made earlier, and that's that Nintendo prices all their games equally, but they don't make all their games equal. The problem is that Nintendo sells their games anyways and people just buy it. They have no reason to drop the price whatsoever because people just gobble that stuff up. And I'm definitely guilty of buying a lot of their games at full price, so I'm kind of a hypocrite talking on this topic. But I figured I'd just bring it up anyways. But as long as they have their audience by their grip, which they already have me, they really have no reason to change the prices. Free-to-play titles have been very popular in the last 5 years or so. And while free-to-play titles sound great on paper, they're usually just full of greedy microtransactions that nobody likes. In order for a free-to-play game to actually make money, it needs to be monetized. The problem with this is that sometimes these free-to-play games sell you things that give you an advantage into the game, and this is commonly known as pay to win. Most free games, however, only allow you to purchase cosmetics in the games to make your person look all snazzy and nice while not affecting the actual gameplay, so that way the game is fair and equal for everybody whether you pay for it or not. On the other hand, you have games like Call of Duty that charge you full price for the game itself and then shove microtransactions into the game anyways. And keep in mind, Call of Duty is a game series that launches a new game every single year. So tell me this, why would you sink all your time and money into a Call of Duty game where all your progress becomes redundant by the next release, when you can sink all your time and money into a game like Fortnite that keeps your progress all the way back from 2017 till now and into the future? Free-to-play games can offer you countless hours of entertainment as long as you have somewhere to play these games. Xbox Game Pass is the best deal I can think of in gaming right now. For only $17 a month, you get access to over 250 or 300 games, I think, like a subscription service. So Game Pass is pretty much like Netflix for video games, except Game Pass actually has good games, unlike Netflix, which doesn't have any good content. Seriously though, Xbox Game Pass is riddled with a ton of AAA and indie games that are actually really good. They're not like bad games. You actually get a lot of value for what you put into it. It's essentially like when you went to Blockbuster as a kid to rent a movie or a video game, except this time you actually get hundreds of them instead of just one at a time. Starfield, a video game I'm very excited for coming out, will launch on Xbox Game Pass at day one of release. The game typically runs for $70 full price, and the premium edition is $100 full price. But if you have Game Pass, if you're subscribed to it, you get the game for free when it comes out day one. Now there are many other games on Game Pass, but you can look them up if you really want to, because I'm not going to get too deep into it. Xbox really is the most consumer-friendly gaming company out there, whereas Nintendo, they hate everybody, and Sony, while they make incredible games, don't have as many consumer-friendly features as Xbox does provide. Although Xbox did just acquire Activision Blizzard, so it really should be interesting to see how they handle the allegations from that company, because that'll be fun to watch. While you can spend $70 on a new title or wait for the price to drop, why not check out some old games that you've never played before? Some people get really fixated on playing new games that are in the industry, but they never take the time to look back at the old greats that they've never experienced before. I mean, sure, you can buy Modern Warfare 3 for $70 this year. Or, hear me out, you can go back and play Ocarina of Time if you've never touched it. What's that? You don't have an N64? Well, good news, you can emulate almost any game, especially old games, on a PC. Emulation is the true gateway into game preservation, in my opinion. And at a price of $0 all the time, you really have nothing to lose trying it out. Now, while this may not be fully legal to do, and I am in no way advocating for you to do it, charging hundreds of dollars for a retro game is honestly ridiculous. And that is why the PC Master Race lives on.